Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the R Show. Tonight we are talking about working full-time and reselling. And tonight our guest is April from the Resellers Learning Curve channel, which is in the description. So, uh, Dwayne, you want to say hi before we have April introduce herself and all that?
Hello.
Well, okay, April, you want to let everybody know a little bit about yourself and since they can find you on the resellers too, but
hmm
there's more than that.
Sure. I'll introduce myself. My name is April. As Chris mentioned, I have a YouTube channel called the Resellers Learning Curve, which is tailored to newer resellers, I would say. I also have a Facebook group by the same name. I'm also a panelist on the Reseller Stew, which is scheduled to happen Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, and I've been reselling for probably about 3.5, close to 4 years at this point.
Huh. Okay. Well, like I said before the show, I have about 10 questions, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple of repeats from either the viewers or Dwayne. So I'll start with my first question, and that is, how did you work at time management wise for having your full-time job? In fact, you want to let people know what you do and stuff like that, so that way they can have an idea of what your day might be like.
Sure, I am a on-property administrator of sorts for college housing. So if you think about the college setting and student housing, I'm kind of like, as Dwayne just described it, a dorm mom of sorts. So I live on site to shut down parties and sniff out underage drinking and sniff out other things. I'm just around to kind of make sure that the kids don't have an inappropriate amount of fun.
Well, we already know that we know you don't have your chat up, but your co-host on the stew is already complaining to you. April, what are you doing over here cheating on the stew with this chowder?
Who is this, Tanya?
Nope,
No, that was Deb.
Deb? Not cheating, not cheating. I love the stew. The stew is one of the most awesome shows on all of YouTube.
I would agree with that. It's actually really interesting. So.
Yeah, it's a really, really fun show, and it goes by really fast because we always have such a great time. So, Deb, I'm not cheating on the stew.
And I can't believe she called us chowder. Are you serious? Come on. That's all right, Deb. Maybe someday you'll be able to grace our presence too.
Well, I know Deb's been on a couple, but not since you've been on with me. So.
Actually, she came on that one time.
Oh yeah, she
not
did.
when I was a co-host. Yeah, we talked her into coming in. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, so how do you work the time management of having to be the resident for the college kids, plus a mom, plus reselling?
It's not easy, that's for sure. I go through periods of adjustment with my full-time job. I know if anybody has had to try to deal with me in the month of August, it's been really, really rough because that's a very busy time in student housing because you have a lot to do in preparation for all of your kids coming back to campus. So the first 2 weeks of August, I just wasn't listing much at all. And my sales reflected that, like they absolutely did. I had some pretty awesome, lucky finds that kept me alive on Amazon, FBA. But as far as eBay, I mean, if anybody has sold on eBay for any length of time, you know that Cassini kind of rewards activity of any sort. And when you don't have a lot of activity, you don't have a lot of sales. So my sales on eBay were down probably, I think, according to the eBay charts, 50% from last year. So I had just a really, really, really rough August. But in general, I try to stay in a good routine. I always try to list a couple of items in the evening when I get off work. And I really try to list at least 1 or 2 items in the morning before I go to work because I'm a morning person. That's my most productive time of the day. So when I'm up and I'm fresh and I have that extra 15, 20 minutes in the morning, I try to start my day with listing a couple of items. And there's always something around that can be listed, that's for sure.
Now, are you like 50-50 FBA and eBay, or what are your percentages right now?
No, absolutely not. I would say probably 80-20. For a while, I was doing a little bit more FBA, but with these recent restrictions,
right?
I'm not feeling it at all. So if I find stuff in the thrift store, I will send it in, but I'm not actively seeking FBA inventory. They also put the kibosh on one of my main hustles where, I mean, Dwayne, you probably know this. I used to love to send in big printers, especially HP printers, and they've restricted those. So I don't know what to do with Amazon right now. So I'm really focusing more on eBay, and I'm trying to increase my eBay listings.
Now, were those printers that you bought, like you bought 40 of them? Were those HPs?
Those were Dell, which I think is also restricted, or there's word that is going to be.
Oh, well, good thing you got those through then.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, since you say you did the printers on Amazon, will you switch them over to eBay and maybe take a cut in price just so you can get them to move?
I don't think, the thing about printers is they're so big and bulky and space consuming and heavy. The margin, which is really, really have to be there for me, and on Amazon, that was a pretty easy thing to find, was the margin. On eBay, I just don't know if it's going to be worth my while, but I will still continue to look them up because there are some that do really, really well on eBay, just like there's some of the plain paper fax machines that do really well on eBay. I won't stop looking things up, so I'll just leave it there. If I can flip it for good profit, I'll flip it.
Okay.
Now, I'm figuring since part of your deal is that you get housing, right?
Correct.
I doubt that it's a huge mansion. So where do you put all your inventory? I mean, do you have a storage unit, or do you have a spare bedroom that's just inventory only?
I do have a work bedroom. In that room, I have a corner where I have a cloth up, and I do some clothing listings. Women's clothing, actually, I'm listing. My boyfriend has a separate house. He lives somewhere else, and he does the men's clothing listings. So he has the huge male fiberglass mannequin that's big and awkward and hard to deal with. But I also have off-site storage because I just always have. I think right now on eBay I have 900 active listings. So if I had all of that stuff here, I don't know, if we would be able to work in the workroom. So I still maintain an off-site storage facility.
No, that makes sense.
Now, we know you just said you sell on Amazon, and we know you do eBay. Are there any other sites or apps that you've started selling on?
Not really. I've tinkered with a couple here and there, but there are none that have caught my interest enough that I've been serious and consistent with them.
Okay.
That makes sense, yeah. So we know you have 2 kids, correct?
Yes.
I've seen lots of pictures of them. They're very cute, by the way.
Thank
In
you.
fact, my wife says if you ever want to get rid of the younger one, just box her up and ship her. We'll trade you straight across. Yeah, we'll trade you straight across for the 16-year-old, the 18-year-old girl. Yeah, straight across. 18-year-old girl, we'll package her up, we'll swap. So, but with the fact that you have a family and a full-time job and full-time reseller. I mean, when do you make family time? Do you take weekends off just to spend time with your family, or is it just kind of fit in the gaps wherever you can?
It's wherever I can. My boyfriend complains about this a lot. He feels that I'm a extreme workaholic. Um, but we do have time in the evenings where I don't work, and we try to just spend time together, and that's usually between when I get off at 5 until Jeopardy goes off at about 8.
Okay.
So that's when my daughter goes to bed, and that's when I can kind of refocus my attention to work, whether it's listing or doing rounds on the property. So I definitely try to take a chunk of time off every evening just for my family.
That's great. That's great. What did you have? You have another question for her, Chris?
Well, I have a couple, but I just typed in the chat if anybody had any questions to not be afraid to ask, because they haven't asked me questions, so I was waiting for them to come up with something.
Yeah, come on. Jeez, guys. This is your chance to take shots at her. Come on.
Well, I watched your first introductory video the other night. I'll be honest, I didn't sub to you until Dwayne said he'd asked you if you wanted to be on. So I watched you. I wanted to see anything about you. What made you motivate you from going from a paralegal to eBay when you were basically on a fast track going to wherever in the lawyer office?
Honestly, the work was just too all-encompassing and demanding. It was a lot of work. It was really a lot of work, and it was complicated. It's complicated because I had issues with the management of the firm who weren't in my location. They were in another office, but I can have a bit of a strong personality, so I don't concede well. So there came a point where I didn't like the way things were going, and I told the director of operations that I was miserable, and she said, well, we're not going to fire you, so do what you're going to do. And I just had to walk away, because for me, there came a time when the work greatly outweighed the pay. And just the toll that it was taking on me personally, it wasn't worth it for me anymore. And I don't have ambitions of going to law school and becoming a lawyer, so it wasn't something that I wanted to continue.
Okay. We have a question. Were you going to say something, Dwayne?
Oh, I was just going to say Deb's making fun of you again, April. She said, I'm sorry, what was that? A strong personality? April? No. Never.
I want to get her.
Well,
go ahead, Chris, with the
I'm going to read Ron's question, and then after it answers that, we'll let you do some shout-outs.
You want me to do shout-outs? Is that what you said?
I said I'll do Vaughn's question, which was,
okay. Yeah.
What is your favorite or best niche? And then when she's done answering, we'll have you do some shout-outs.
Okay.
I love to sell men's high-end clothing and shoes. Honestly, if you could give me just a bunch of men's shoes, I want to say hi to Robert Burns, because I think he taught me a lot when it comes to men's shoes, but they're absolutely my favorite thing in the world to sell. Just last week, I picked up a pair of shoes in Goodwill for $4.49. I came home, I listed the shoes that night. They sold overnight for $169. So that's why I love to sell men's shoes, because if you can get your hands on a good condition, quality pair of shoes, it's just such an easy, stress-free flip. And men, in my experience, are easier customers to deal with. A lot of my returns come from my female customers. But men, if they see it, they like it, they want it, they buy it, and they keep it.
understand that. I work in the very much same field as you. I do mostly men's clothing. I don't do any women's clothing unless it's oh, whoops, this is actually a female, North Face jacket or something that I didn't catch. So, but for the same reason is that I feel that men are much less picky, I guess, or I don't know if they're less picky. They're just like you said, I think they're more spontaneous. They just buy it. If they don't like it, whatever. Unless it's a high dollar item or something, then they may worry about it. But for the most part, they're pretty easy going.
Well, yeah, I have a guy returning a Brioni suit, a $250 suit right now. I'm not thrilled about that, but it's a rare occurrence, and it's something that I know I'll easily sell again, so it's not a huge deal, but nobody likes a $250 return.
Yeah, it still hurts, of course. They always do. All right, let me do some shout-outs. Let's see. We got, where should I start? Oh, how about, well, I see the Crazy Card, Yvonne from Flippin' Easy, Joni Kramer, Julie Venerum. I hope I said that right. I still haven't heard whether I'm saying it right or wrong yet. Turtle Traders out there, and Deb's out there trolling. Swamp Picker, how are you guys tonight? Alyssa. Alyssa, by the way, says that she doesn't work full-time, but she homeschools and runs a virtual assistant business, so she understands the balancing act. So that sounds like it's a pretty busy schedule. Mara Lucas. Tanya, of course, is there supporting us. Zorwan Wolf. One of these days I'm going to have to find out who he is, or he or she, I should say.
I don't.
Yeah, I know. You know everybody's name. I don't know very many people's actual names. Amelia and Leisure Picker. I think that's the bulk of them. If I miss you, I'll probably catch up with you in a bit. So.
Well, I have a question for everyone. So I'm assuming she's including all the viewers as well. But Julie V. Venerum says, do your spouses or significant others agree or go along with your thrifting? Do they share your passion? Well, April, I'll let you start since you are our guest.
Yeah, my boyfriend left his job in December to maintain our business since I was deciding to go back to work. So yes, he's very supportive. And on the days that I can't get to Goodwill because I feel like I need to go to Goodwill twice a day, he'll actually go for me. He's pretty good. He'll usually catch, 75% of what's there.
Well, that's pretty good. A pretty good percentage there. Now, did he not used to work at a Goodwill, or
he did?
Like that?
He did.
Okay.
But at some point, it wasn't going to be good if he stayed. And considering what we did, I'm sure it would have become a conflict of interest.
Right. I'm sure somebody would have cried foul here after a while.
Absolutely.
One of the questions I wanted to know is, what are some of the obstacles you faced doing the whole changeover back and forth and between full-time and part-time? And what have you done to, help mend those whatever obstacles you had to jump over?
One of the biggest obstacles that I had to overcome was I used to have a full-time employee who wasn't my boyfriend, and I actually let go a lot of my personal control over my business, and there were some things that I just wasn't catching, and that hurt me. That hurt my eBay account. I still have not gotten my top-rated seller status back. I'm getting there, but it's taken me many months to try to get back to where I was, and that's because I hired someone who just wasn't as invested as I am in my business. And I did that for a reason, and that's because I wanted to grow the business and I wanted to get more listings up, but that came at a very, very high cost. Um, and so I had to learn that it's important for me to maintain, some kind of ownership over that process. So that's probably the biggest thing that I had to get past. And ironically, there's still items to this day that will sell, and we have to cancel the orders because there's like loads of stuff that I don't even know what she did with it. I don't know where she put it. I don't know if she I just don't know.
And you haven't had a chance to do like a full inventory to find out what you have listed that you don't physically have anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you have like 900 items, so that might take a day or two.
Yeah, my boyfriend's been working on that for about 7 months now.
And it's probably not because he's that slow either.
No, it'll come up, we'll sell something, we can't find it, and then I'll freak out and I'll demand that the inventory gets done immediately. And so like the next day he'll go over and he'll work on it a little bit, and then it just fades into the background. And we go through this every so often, but knock on wood, it's actually been weeks, if not a little bit longer, since we've been unable to fulfill an order. So I'm hoping that means, we're past that stage.
Okay, I guess Kayla, a good question. Since you are into college, have you ever thought of or have you tried reselling something you got from Goodwill to a student that you're taking care of?
No, I haven't, because let me think. I give a ton of stuff away, a ton of stuff. If I see something that reminds me of someone or that I think they'll like, then I'll just buy it and give it to them. But I do resell to my colleagues. I have a coworker who, when she started, she didn't feel that her wardrobe was what she wanted it to be. So in addition to reselling, I also have like an arm of my business where I do some, I guess you would call it, personal shopping. And so I do resell to people that I work with. But students, I don't know how I would feel about that, because a lot of our students are struggling to get by. So I always keep that in mind. And if I want to pick up something that I think is student friendly, more often than not, I'm just going to give it to them.
Okay. Well, I'm still not seeing too many questions from the viewers, and we're just under 40 viewers tonight so far. What is another tip that you think new research, like we saw Alyssa has the homeschool plus she does her virtual assistant job, but what is a tip that you can think of that for somebody that has a full-time job that wants to get into reselling, how to really go about it, so they, besides the timing itself, there's got to be more to it than that?
In the beginning, the best advice I can give is just to get out there and get started, because there are certain things about this business that you can't learn in any other way besides just doing them. And I think back to my first year of reselling, and I was so terrible. I was awful. But I had to go through that time period. I had to go through that process, or I wouldn't be where I am today. It was funny because today I was in a store and I came across all of these shirts that I normally would have picked up with no questions asked. But I've learned over time what sells for me, what doesn't sell, what's going to be a little bit long tail, what's going to be a quick flip. So my advice is just to start doing it. And reselling is one of those things that is absolutely best to start when you have a job. I would not suggest that anybody, see a video and say, you know what, I'm going to quit my job and start reselling and then figure it out. I wouldn't suggest that. You definitely want to take your time and learn. My advice is, buy slowly. Learn to research. Research is your friend. Don't be so quick to buy everything that you believe is a good score, because there are a lot of different factors that come into play when you're buying items for resale.
Okay. Well, we have a question from the Crazy Card. Excuse me. It says, have you found that having a job again has made you more picky with your picks?
Possibly, maybe. It's hard to say for sure, because I think before I took this job, I was already starting to get pretty selective about the items that I would pick up. You have to establish your bottom line. You have to decide how much you are worth, how much your time is worth. And I find for myself, I have to be very, very strict with that. And today, like I said before, it's been almost 4 years for me, or it may have been 4 years at this point. But I will not touch an item that sells for less than $50. I know a lot of people will sell items all day for $20, $25, and they'll be super, super happy with that. But I just don't have the time to list $25 items. So if I'm going to pick up an item today, it has to sell for $50. Hopefully, that would be my profit, hopefully. But I believe that that's something that I kind of started to implement way before I took this job. I think about, I would say probably a year ago or so, which is around the time that I left my previous job to go full-time. I realized that I just had to be more selective with the items that I picked up, because if you pick up those items that are small flips or not exciting to you, what happens is you tend to accumulate just a bunch of stuff. You have stuff everywhere. Your basement's full of stuff, or your closets are full of stuff. Your kids are sleeping on stuff. And nobody wants that. So in order to avoid having all of this stuff around you, you have to kind of learn to be very, very picky.
We have a question from me, Lucas. And yep, I'm sorry for an echo. But she says, I have 8 children, take care of my elderly father, and have physical limitations of my own. So even though I'm not working a full-time job, I'm a pretty busy person. What is your best time-saving tip?
My best time-saving tip is to come up with a process and be pretty strict with following that process, and also create a listing template for yourself. For me, I have a document saved in Google Docs that's a listing template, and I copy that and I paste it into my eBay listing, so that all I have to do is essentially go through and fill in those blanks. It's brand, color, material, size, style, condition description. You want to create things that make your job easy, and you want to make this work as routine as possible. Not boring, but routine, so that you can kind of find a rhythm and get into that and just kind of coast along. I know some people, they might take photos for a certain period of time. They'll take all of their photos that they're going to take and all the items they're going to list, and then next they'll move on to doing the listings, and then next they'll go to launch the listings. Whatever your process may be, you just want to create a process and stick to that, so that you can move through things pretty quickly and efficiently. That's the big thing. You want to be efficient.
You got another question, Dwayne?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. It sounds like you're pretty a good reseller. What made you go back to the grind? Why'd you go back full time job as opposed to full-time reselling?
This perplexes a lot of people. For me, I'm a very social person, and I don't do well with idle time. And as a reseller, I found myself, I put a lot of pressure on myself, so I was running around constantly. I was always on the road, always sourcing, always doing something. And I just wasn't a good manager of myself, if that makes any sense. So there
perfect sense, actually.
Yeah, there was a lot of things about it that just didn't make me feel that great. Like I never got dressed anymore. I always had on a hoodie. Like I would shower every 3 days because why bother? I'm just working at home. And it wasn't a good mental place for me. So I needed to kind of come back to work to get myself back in that shape, professional shape. I love getting dressed in the morning. I really love getting up and looking at my closet and pondering what I'm going to wear and picking out things to go with. Like I enjoy that. I also enjoy interacting with people throughout the day. Like it's my favorite thing about work is interacting. That's why it took me so long to leave my last job because a lot of the people that I worked with, they were my friends. So I didn't want to leave. Um, and I didn't have enough space in my old apartment. The main factor of me taking this job was I have a 4-bedroom apartment here and I don't pay any rent, I don't pay any utilities, and I get a paycheck, which is essentially gravy because I use my reselling income to pay my bills. So my paycheck is just, I mean, that's almost like extra because that's not what I do for a living. And so because I don't have this job out of financial necessity, it allows me to focus on, just loving the work. And I enjoy the work. And I'm not here because I need to be here. I'm here because this is what I want to do.
Oh, that's great. It's great to be able to find something that fits into your lifestyle as well as makes you become a better person and reseller or whatever, whatever. If you need that structure, then it sounds like you found it in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebecca, Deb has been started on you again. She says April doesn't really sell anything. She is just trying to write a book.
Oh, and she also just wrote that you're eBay rich, and she wants to be like you when she grows up.
Well, Deb is like the only person that knows. This past weekend, I had $450 in returns. So if that's eBay rich, I don't think anybody wants it.
And we have another question from Vaughn. She wants to know, if you had to add another niche, what would you choose?
I enjoy selling vintage electronics. They're kind of my jam. I love them. And it's funny that I say jam because like the old ghetto blaster boom boxes, I love those. I do a lot with VCR equipment, whether it's actual VCRs or VCR tapes or VCR cleaners. I just love vintage electronics. There's still a very, very strong market for those type items. People feel all nostalgic and they start thinking, hey, I wonder if I can find this stereo. And where do they go to find that? They go straight to eBay every time. So when people are feeling that way and they want to spend $300 on a stereo, I want to be that person that has that stereo. So that's probably one of my favorite things to sell besides men's clothing and accessories.
Now, you alluded to it a little bit earlier, but you say you try and get out twice a day to the Goodwill, to the Goodwills or to the thrift stores. Is that consistently twice a day?
Yeah. I go. It's that thrift crack, yo. Somebody called it thrift crack.
I know.
That's brilliant. Wow. Yeah, that's how it feels to me. I have like anxiety. I almost have a panic attack if I don't get to Goodwill. I go on my lunch break. Which can be great or it can be really uneventful. And then I usually go again after I get off work. So in the evenings, early evenings, about 5 o'clock. And sometimes, I won't find anything on my lunch break and I'll find something great in the evening. Sometimes I don't find anything in the evening, but if I go in on my lunch break, I find a ton of stuff. So it just depends. Goodwill puts out stuff all day. So rarely is there a time when that doesn't make sense for me, except for the summer months when I'm just wasting a ton of gas because Goodwill is doing nothing.
Actually, Deb's says that you're going to owe her royalties on Thrift Crack. That was hers.
It was.
So you took that from her. She wants royalties.
All right, Deb.
Rock Picker, Glenn asks, Goodwill close by you?
There's one closer than the one that I frequent, but I don't go to that one because it's not as good. The one that I go to is in the town that I lived in before I moved here, and it probably takes me 15, 20 minutes to get to it, but it's such an awesome Goodwill that it's worth it. So yeah, it's not right around the corner, that's for sure.
So now, do you do thrift, or do you do yard sales, garage sales, estates, anything like that, or is it just thrift stores for you?
Thrift stores and a little RA. I do Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Burlington, Gabriel Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do yard sales and garage sales. People drive me crazy at yard sales. I went to a neighborhood yard sale probably a month and a half ago, and this lady had a couple of puzzles, and I asked her how much the puzzles were, and she told me that they were unopened. They were the prices that were on the stickers, and one of them was like $25. I said, so you want $25 for this puzzle? She said, well, yeah. And I'm just thinking, what? Like, this is crazy. And, people believe that their stuff is so valuable. And I know that's probably the minority, but I always get so wound up when I do garage sales and yard sales that I stop doing them. Because I shouldn't be that bothered that people want top dollar for their crap. But it bothers me on some level. So, no.
You're going to go throw down with people just because they want a couple extra dollars for their puzzle. Jeez.
Yeah. $25 for a puzzle at a yard sale? That's insane.
Oh, I agree with you. She would be a very poor garage seller.
You should have asked her where she looked it up, on eBay, and then if she said yes, say, then why didn't you list it there?
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing that drives me crazy. Well, it goes for such and such on eBay. Like, where? How? Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Or you could just tell her you'll be back in a couple hours when she has sold nothing, and then you'll buy it at a decent price.
Or I'll just go to Marshall's where I can shop and buy stuff on clearance for $4 or $5.
There you go.
You want to do another couple of quick shout-outs before I go to my next question?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Have we had anybody? Oh, Drew showed up, huh? Hey, Drew. Let's see. Who else we got going on? Grumpy. Let's see. Headless Horseman. I don't think I've ever met him or heard of that person. Thrift Daddy's in the house. Who else? Henry. I don't know how you say your last name, Henry. Sherrick?
Yep.
The Violet Lemon. Dawn has decided to crash the party here. I think that's most everybody that I haven't already mentioned.
No, Coco just showed up saying, late.
Oh, see, I was already just scrolling up, Coco. Man, you're really late. What's up with that?
For sale to sold also says hi to everybody.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that person either. So, well, there you go. Glad to see you all here. Well, looks like we got about 50 people watching.
Yep. My next question for you, April, is when you're doing your full-time job, have you ever been able to answer questions or do some eBay work when you're on a break or something? So you have like a set time that you have a break. Okay, I'm doing eBay at that time.
No, because I do things when I feel like it because I have the privilege of doing so. My boss has a lot of faith and confidence in me, and I do good work when I'm at work, but sometimes I may need to cut out in the middle of the day. Today I had to ship something that cost me $100 to ship, and so mid-morning I had to leave work and come up to my apartment to figure that out, how to print a UPS label. But no, as long as I get my work done, I'm a salaried employee, so I'm not paid by the hour. So I kind of come and go throughout the day.
So there's a little leeway of what you're able to, how much time you want to spend on work, or come up and have to take something for eBay.
Yes.
Something really comes up, you're like, okay, eBay comes first, or type of thing, especially if it's, like you said, a return.
Yeah, if something comes up, typically I can deal with it right then.
Yeah, that's good to be able to do something like that and not, affect either one of your business. You can work it out throughout the day.
Yep.
I was just going to ask you a question, but now I can't remember.
Well, while you're thinking about
Go
that,
ahead.
I'll ask my next one.
Go for it.
Do you plan on going back full-time online and leaving the college, or are you going to stay there until they say, okay, you can't live here no more?
I see no plans in my immediate future to leave this job, mostly because I am pondering a relocation, and I would love for the company to pay for me to relocate somewhere. So if I can move my position somewhere else where there's sun instead of snow, I would like to do that. And eventually, I'll probably end up going back to school as well. So I plan to hang out in academia for a while, just because this is the environment that suits me the best. So I'll be here.
Deb says that you're going to Austin.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
And you're going to be a super team.
Last time I heard, there was no more room in Austin, but I'm trying to figure out if we manage any properties down in Austin. And I didn't really get an answer to that today, but I'm looking into it.
She says, we have schools. Austin is educated.
So I hear.
So, one of the question I was going to ask you is your son involved in your business at all? Has he shown any interest at all?
No, he used to.
No?
He's as interested as how much I'll pay him, and I'm not interested in just kind of, paying for him to learn. So, no, he modeled clothes for me a time or two. Like, if I don't have a mannequin, I might have him model something, and that's because he's very tall and thin, and he has a model's frame. But no, he hasn't done anything with me in a while. But he's a relatively decent picker when he wants to be for a kid of his age. He's found like Willis and Geiger shirts on his own before. So when he feels like it, he can, but he just doesn't that often.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. And do you have any problem with your daughter just rummaging through all the stuff that you get? Bags, going crazy? Or do you, hide them as soon as you get there?
We have a saying around my house: respect the merch. And she knows what that means. So if we say respect the merch, she'll usually back off of it.
That's nice. I wish I could get that out of my kids. And my kids are 16 and 18. So. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, basically I asked all my questions already, or they were already asked by others, so let's see if there's anything else. Julie Benram says, so glad I'm settled. 22 years married, 5 kids, 5 grandkids, and 7 Goodwills, plus other thrift stores here. Got some great finds this week.
Awesome.
All right, well, we always have to ask every reseller that's ever been on any show ever, what's your best flip?
Oh, man. I know there's something I'm forgetting. I just always know that there is. But the best one that I can remember off the top of my head, and I did not think about this previously, was, and Dwayne, you probably were around when this happened. I found a vintage Burberry classic trench coat that had the full wool lining in it, and I think it sold for $350, and I paid $7.99 for it.
Nice. That is sweet. I love Burberry.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sporting me my Burberry hat. See, it's even got the tag still on it.
Uh-oh, now you got to stuff. You wore it.
Oh, damn it. Oh, well.
You should keep it.
So, yeah. Nah. It's worth about $45. So, someday I'll list it.
Yeah, someday.
Well, it sits over there, you know. I've got lots of stuff that I need to list. Everybody does. So how much backstock do you have?
Right now I'm probably at an all-time low. I have a stash of shirts somewhere, I think in a space bag under a bed, that I'm just not motivated to list. I have half a closet full of jackets, sport coats, blazers, things of that nature. Half a closet is probably a record for me. Usually I have, a whole closet and then some. And other than that, I just have odds and ends things around. Like, I don't have a huge backstock right now.
It's awesome. That can be good and bad. It can be bad that you don't have product, but it can be good. That means you're listing, as you're going. So.
Yeah. If I find something awesome, I'm going to list it right away. That's like those shoes from last week. Like, when I found those shoes, I was like, I'm going home and I'm listing these right away. And I woke up the next morning and they sold. So if it's like motivating enough, it gets listed immediately. If it doesn't get listed immediately, that means that I'm just not really feeling it. But I think all of us have that item that we set on for 6 months, 9 months, longer, and then you list it and it sells within an hour. That happens.
I know, and then you're kicking yourself. Man, yeah. 9 months ago I could have flipped that money 15 times by now.
Absolutely.
All right, Delaney, you can ask. You can read the Crazy Card's question.
Oh, okay. The Crazy Card Mike says, has your boyfriend's past at Goodwill got you any ins, and you got a connection sneaking Ferragamos out the back door?
I wish. That would be awesome. No. You know what, though? I'll say this in a very, very general sense. I encourage people to be very friendly with their local thrift store workers. If you get to know them and you treat them well, and when I say treat them well, I mean holidays, take in coffee, donuts, just be nice. Be nice to people, treat people well, and that will reward you handsomely over time.
So now, is that what you do with your boyfriend, only you took it to kind of the next level? I mean, you took him home? I mean, that's a little much, isn't it?
I didn't pick him. My daughter did. My daughter picked out my boyfriend. And I was just like, Kennedy, I don't think so. And she was just like, yeah, Mom, this is the guy. And she was like only a year old at the time. And she just loved this guy. Like, every time she walked in, she was like behind the register. She wanted him to pick her up. And they just like bonded immediately. And that's the thing that kind of drew me to him, was that my daughter loved him. And now she loves him immensely.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's definitely a resounding thumbs up when the kids are good with them.
Yeah.
What did you say, Chris?
I was just going to say we have a question from Chris, Turtle Trader. Yes, how much prep do you put into your shoes and dress shirts?
As little as possible. I think with shoes especially, if you find that you need to put a ton of prep into them, it might not be the shoes that you want to sell. Like a wipe down, maybe a quick polish, maybe, but I don't put a ton of prep into stuff. And a dress shirt, if I need to do anything besides run over it with an iron, it's just not something that I'm going to mess with. The only thing that I would put money into, and when I say, I mean, time is money, but the only thing that I will invest in is sometimes if it's a really high-end suit, I'll take it to the dry cleaners, but that's only if I can sell it for upwards of $150. I'll pay the $15 to get it dry cleaned. But shoes, I'm not going to pick up a ton of shoes if they need to be cleaned and soles replaced and all that nonsense. But last week, I picked up a pair of Gucci loafers, vintage Gucci loafers, and the soles needed to be replaced, and I just listed them as is and said in the description, somebody's going to have to replace these soles like pretty soon. And those sold for $80 within 2 days. So, if it's a brand like that, then I'll just sell it like it is.
Okay.
So the shoes that you sold the other day, oh, sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead.
Oh, were they Allen Edmonds?
No, they were Alden's.
Oh, okay. The quick flip, that was awesome. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry about that.
I can read Henry's question. He asks, have you picked up men or women cologne to sell?
I have, not very successfully, but I definitely have. If you source at places like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, they always have really awesome name brand perfume and cologne at really, really decent prices. I've tried to flip some of those things. I haven't done terribly well with them. We were talking about this in my Facebook group, and someone mentioned that you can do really, really well with some of the Tommy Bahama colognes. And some of those that aren't made anymore go for crazy, crazy money, but it has to be like the discontinued old formula, hard to find. There was also a perfume that I got at Goodwill not long ago that sold really fast for $150. I would have to look to see what it was, but it was a women's perfume, and I didn't like the smell at all. But when I looked it up on eBay, I could see that it was a pretty highly sought after perfume, so that was easy enough. But it's not something that I do a ton of.
Okay. Well, we've got about 7 more minutes or so. So while we're waiting for any more possible questions, you want to tell everybody again where they can find you on Facebook and stuff like that?
Sure. On Facebook, you can send me a request to join the Resellers Learning Curve, which is our Facebook group. It's a really, really awesome group. Lots of super, super smart people. Lots of people that have been doing this full time for many, many years. So just an incredible well of knowledge, if you will. My YouTube channel, The Resellers Learning Curve. You can also find me on YouTube if you are a person who is struggling with alcoholism or addiction, or you have someone in your family struggling with those things. I have a recovery YouTube channel as well called One Slay at a Time. It's less well known, it's much smaller, it's very casual, it's a lot more personal, but if that is something that interests you, I would encourage you to join me there, because I discuss all types of things based on the 12-step program.
And we have a comment from Vaughn. She says, I love your group, April. I have met people in that aren't in any other groups.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good group. It's a good group. I pulled a lot of people that I met in a group that I used to pay to be in, and I asked them to join my group, and they did, and I'm really thankful that they have, because there's just a lot of knowledge to pull from in that group.
And there's knowledge in the paid groups. Like I said, I watched your introductory video, and how you said that your comment was that you were in the green room, and if you want to pay for it, you're paying your own money. That's good for you, type of thing. So that's the way I feel too. I wanted to get in there, but I didn't have the money. So, but I also feel that there's a lot of good information that you can still get for free like this, like we're doing now, giving out good, helping everybody without having to get paid for it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I personally, I don't charge, and I answer a lot of questions. People send me messages on Facebook all the time asking for help with items, and I do those things because I want to help people learn how to resell. I want to see people become financially self-sufficient, and it has nothing to do with financial gain. My YouTube channel is not for financial gain. My AdSense account has like a whopping $56 in it, and that's just what it is. Like, I'm not making any money off YouTube, and that's not the reason that I do anything. It's not my driving force.
Okay. We got a question from, let's see. Joni wants to know what your other channel is again. The one for the addiction.
One sleigh at a time.
Okay. Wayne put it in the chat for everybody. So, everybody.
And her other one, the reselling learning curve. She let me in, so she's gonna let people in. To come in. So I mean, it's not an exclusive group. Ding her, hit her up. She'll probably let you in.
Yeah. I was thinking about capping the resellers learning curve at so many members, but I threw it out to the group, and the feedback that I got was, as long as the information that is being posted is helpful, as long as people aren't just debating for the sake of debate, because that happens sometimes. Once a group gets too big, someone will say something, and then somebody else will say, well, maybe, but it could be. We don't have any of that. We share our scores, we share our struggles, we share helpful information. What I try to bring to the group is just like really generalized, helpful information that can help you become a stronger reseller. And we have great admins. The admins in the Resellers Learning Curve are phenomenal. There's Tanya, who was around. Deb's an admin. I also have Angie, who is just a complete, she's amazing when it comes to women's fashions, women's jewelry, and those are things that I know nothing about, so she's really good at that. And then I have Brian Baker, who is amazing when it comes to men's fashion. So the admin staff over at the Resellers Learning Curve, they're well versed in a number of different things. So I definitely encourage you to join the group because it's a good group.
I agree. I think it's a great learning, a group that you can be comfortable there. There's not a lot of drama. It's a great group. Now, was that Angie Martin that you were talking about as one of your admins?
Let me, hold on.
From Pennsylvania?
I don't think so. Hold on. No, Angie B. She's in Florida.
Oh, okay. So a different Angela. Okay.
Okay, yeah. When you said Andy, some people thought you were talking about the treasure vintage
right
from YouTube.
No.
Yeah, no. Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. And she's very well versed in jewelry as well. So that worked out both ways.
Somebody I should get to know. She knows things.
Oh, that's great. Let's see.
We got a question from For Sale to Sold, and we'll let this be the last question, and we can all answer it because it's not necessarily about for the topic, but it'll help somebody learn. They asked, does anyone know what listing impressions are on your seller dashboard? Well, my impression is that it is when people look at your listings. They tell you how many times your listing has been looked at, or that your listings have been looked at. But I'm not as experienced as April is, so am I anywhere close, April?
I'm actually looking at it right now.
I can't remember.
We count an impression when a link to your listing appears on eBay. So if somebody's searching for an item and you appear in those search results, that's a listing impression. So it's not an actual click on your listing, but it's an opportunity for a click. So
I guess when you're in the search, or if you're on the side, say if you're doing collections or something, that
mm-hmm.
so that'd be a link to your store, so it'd be basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully that answered your question for sale. And with that being said, it's actually on the hour, so I want to thank. Oh, I think she had to take that phone call. And I'm not seeing any more questions, so.
That was the campus police, so I had to take that.
I sort of figured
the campus police?
Yeah.
Well, it is on the hour, so April, I want to thank you for being on. I know it was not necessarily late, but considering you're working at the college and you're tired out probably from everything else you had to do, I do appreciate you coming on.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
And tell your boyfriend thank you for making sure you didn't chump out on us.
Oh my gosh, he's the worst. He was like nagging me because I wasn't in earlier. He was like, they probably want to check and make sure everything's right. Don't be rude. You should. I'm like, go to bed. Like, I will thank him. Please.
Well, at least he was pulling for us.
He's like my manager. Like, honestly, he is like my life manager. He does so many things for me. Like, even if it's like going to get my lunch for my dry cleaning, he's like my personal assistant / life manager.
That sounds like a really hard job.
It's really super tough. Trust me, you wouldn't want it.
All right.
So,
well,
let's see.
A lot of people are saying good night, thanking us for the show. So I will not be having an after show tonight. So I will see you guys Sunday, and Dwayne will see you Sunday.
Thanks again, April, for coming on out.
Thank you.
And hopefully we will have Rebecca with us Sunday night. If not, and Dwayne will hold the fort again. So if you like what we talked about, and have any questions, I'm sure if you have any questions for April, she'll answer them in her group, or if you can find her on Facebook. And we'll see you later.